Hello and welcome to Shittywebcomics Weekly.
Hello.
Hello. We're explorers on the furthest reaches of experience, and demons to some, angels to others. And our videos are brought to you by our Subscribe Star backers. Donate to see into the mind of God and find out what everyone else remains clueless about, as usual.
We are
And
on the cusp of the cosmic zeitgeist.
oh, that's pretty good too. That's a good. That's an incentive. Only $5 a month to be on the cusp, or really
You're
ahead,
ripping us off.
on the leading edge of the psychic zeitgeist or the
Maybe even
psychic
the bleeding
gestalt.
edge.
Those are good things. And of course, by Grabthar's hammer, what a savings. Um, Today, kind of an bizarre example, but at the same time, something that that struck me as qualifying in a way that most people wouldn't consider. But Emp Lemon, he's a YouTuber. He has over a million. He has 1.36 million subscribers, and normally that doesn't mean anything to me, but I like his videos. That's what means. He does like kind of sports documentaries on YouTube, but not in the way
Yeah,
you
he
would
does.
think.
As far as the YouTubers I watch, he does the most. He
Yeah,
does the most sports content.
yeah, and I normally wouldn't be. I guess as Colin Quinn put it, I'm basically half a fruit myself. But so it's like I don't have that much focus on sports, but Amp Lemon's videos are the kinds of things where you don't have to know shit about any sport or the specific one he's talking about. Um, it's kind of like Wendigoon a little bit, where all of the context is perfectly nailed in a opening essay, the opening theme, the closing theme. I think one of Amp Lemon's more recent videos previously was just about how one town got hit by like two F5 tornadoes in the same week around the same time that the movie Twister was coming out. So again,
I didn't watch that.
yeah, that one was good. Not a sports video though, but in fact, it was a very
Twister,
confusing premise based on the thumbnail
Twister,
and the
what a
title.
terrible movie.
Yeah, look at how horrible that horrible
That
movie.
horrible movie, Twister,
And of course, as
ruined
we
a
know,
perfectly nice town.
Bill Paxton's character in Twister is nicknamed the Extreme, of course, as we all
I
should know,
forgot that. I forgot that
as
because
all
that
real
movie is
fans
so irrelevant to me.
of shitty
The most
webcomics.
relevant part of that movie to me is the fucking Van
Yes,
Halen song.
that movie would probably be great on movie night, though. Actually, to be honest,
That movie would be great on toast.
it's a very cheesy movie, which would make it even better on toast. But the
Oh,
but
Texas toast with 5 cheese.
ah ah that's ah ah.
Oh,
But
aw.
speaking of which,
Speaking of
Emblement's
aw,
latest video when we're recording this, which is literally on Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving morning, so it's like actually it's about noon. But
we don't have anything better to do. Why the fuck would we?
and why would I want to? You know what I want to do? I want to spend today playing video games, just like yesterday, and
This is the point of
ideally
the
tomorrow.
Thanksgiving. The point of the holiday is to play video games.
The reason for the season is pleasing myself with video games. Wow, cool. But Emplement's video, that's the most recent at this time, is called Poker's Greatest Tournament Run. And it's about this guy who never was in a poker tournament before, and just
He
this.
played like or not even. It wasn't
It was
video
video. It
poker.
was, well, yeah, not video poker, but like internet poker in like 2003, and that kind of shit.
It's one of those things I remember back in the day. It's like, who would fall for this?
Yeah, but
And it's
yeah,
like, well, it's real. It turns out it's real poker, but it's like I would not want to risk having my internet credentials out there like
yeah,
that.
like the website just has your bank info, and it's like, oh, you thought that, you were paying with real money, but you thought we would give you any? No, no.
Excuse me, sweaty.
Sweaty arena. And speaking of which, but the premise for this episode of Shitty Webcomics Weekly is that, in a way, that usually when people are doing these documentaries, they'll have stock footage, background footage, that kind of stuff. But what he threw in is sort of homemade comic panels to help tell the story of this guy. And
Yeah, actually, we were watching it, and I was like, this would make a really good comic story. And then it's like, what? Actually, technically, the video is already doing that.
yeah, that is the thing, is that this video is kind of a comic in a way. A lot of videos on YouTube that just tell a story like that with sometimes static images, they're mixing the modern equivalent of a comic and the modern equivalent of like a video essay and that kind of stuff. And it goes to show, this is what we've been saying for many, many years, is that comics are actually more ubiquitous than people think. It's just that they've evolved and mutated into all these different forms. A lot of people take comics and dub them. They'll read out the dialogue and sort of have it display out in a video. Like Bale Buddies comics are almost instantly turned into voice acted video, sort of like little playlets. But it's the comic art that's being used. And Common America, a lot of people have been using the Common America, the webtoon versions, and just making those into sort of voice acted comics. And that goes to show there's a lot more that people can do with comics these days, and especially what needs to be considered, and a lot of people in the American fandoms don't want to consider, is that digital was already the new wave of it. That's in the past now. The best
part is, you're saying this, and I know there's probably somebody listening, because especially if this is the weekly, there's guaranteed somebody listening who's like, that's not true.
Angrily listening and refusing to accept the reality, which we've personally faced and utterly annihilated every single person who tried to step to us about it, because they have no arguments, because ultimately we're right regardless. And it's not even our take, it's just reality that we've noticed. And it's a reality that a lot of people don't want to face. But I thought it was an interesting concept that even Emp Lemon is kind of adding to that, where he's...
real creators know these truths.
And
actual legitimate creators, i.e., not the Nick Recadas of the world.
Yeah, the people who are in the Ethan Van Skyvers and Nick Recadas, people who are clueless and just pretend to know something because they worked for soulless corporations and made soulless, empty product. This stuff has... It's funny because it's kind of rudimentary drawings, but you can tell it still has a lot of Sovel, if you will, as the Squiddos call it. But on top of that, there's also a heavy element of the writing, because when you do one of these video essays, it has to be written. The script has to be written out, and then it has to be read, and then the visuals go over that. And the thing is that the visuals themselves could always be, in a way, an element of comic storytelling. In a very loose way, but in a more literal sense for this specific video.
Well, it's better than just doing a video where you talk over it.
Yeah, but like The Kid Stays in the Picture, that documentary about the big Hollywood producer guy from the 70s.
Big Hollywood producer, his name I can't remember, but he was a big Hollywood producer.
Yeah, I forget. His name isn't coming to me. I'm a little... It's Thanksgiving, so
it was a really generic name, I know that. I remember that. It was like a shockingly generic name.
Yeah, it was Robert something, I think.
Robert Paulson.
Robert
His name
Palmer.
was Robert Paulson.
It was Robert Paulson. Wow, that's cool. But no, it was a really good documentary. And the funny thing is, there was kind of a new style with the background images, but there were a lot of stills that were slightly animated to make it look like there was a zoom on the figures in one direction and then a zoom out on the backgrounds to make them look more dynamic. But ultimately,
again,
there's a lot of stills, and that, in a way, that kind of counts as a comic.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely a better use of the comic format than certain other people making so-called indie comics
Yeah,
right now.
fake indie the fake indies, the tourist indies, that kind of thing. But the interesting thing is, the best part of that kind of thing is the storytelling, the story being told and how it's written.
Mhm.
In that,
Again,
it
yeah,
was a good
also
one.
infinitely more interesting story. That was one of the things, of course, the easiest comparison in the world, Comicsgate. It's
Yeah,
like, look how
exactly.
low effort and uninteresting their stories are. Look
Because
how boring all of
that's
their
another
work is.
very good point, is they could have done that too with the comics they made. They could have made videos out of them. Because look at, again, Common America. Common America has it has the spin-off comics. They even have doujin. They're going the fucking people making the Common America doujins in Japan are on their fourth one now. It's about to come out, which is more books, the fan comics, than Comicsgate even has entire books in their series and that kind of shit.
Yeah, the entirety of Comicsgate as a movement, as its existence.
Yeah, it's completely outdone by just the fan books, just the doujins
And this is
for Common
something that
America.
Comicsgate tried to stop. Comicsgate tried to put a stop to this before it happened.
Not only did they fail though, but again, a lot of the comics, the webtoon Common America comics, are turned into videos, and they're video forms of comics, which is still kind of basically a comic. It's an interesting new sort of paradigm of not just comics as a book, but then comics as a video, which still works. And it makes you realize, if you have the eyes to see, as we do, and most other people don't, but if you have the eyes to see, you realize that comics are kind of, a lot of videos, a lot of video essays are in a little bit of a connected way a comic also. It's
Well,
a
I mean, to me,
sequential
the,
art.
the key thing is that comics are like an unused medium, or rather, they're an overlooked medium.
Yes.
Because, I mean, you think about it, there's a lot of ways to make comics right now that aren't getting done. And there's
Yeah.
no good reason for that either.
Or not realized or acknowledged. But yeah, that's it's Will Eisner, who is the guy going. He was making comics in the 40s and 50s and that kind of thing, and he was like, okay, so comic, the word comic, it kind of implies funny or joke. And he's like, okay, what's a better term for it? And he came up with sequential art, which doesn't exactly hit the spot in the same way, but it does make it's a logical term, sequential art. That is basically what comics are. And again, a lot of videos and video essays, some movies even, like, again, the documentaries, kind of like that, use the format of sequential art in a lot of ways. Now they may use video or full motion film, but sometimes they'll use a lot of stills. And that works very effectively too. I remember History Channel
What's
would work
another
very
good
much on a
example of
lot of
how
stills.
you can make a comic without it being cape slop?
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the great lessons Comicsgate is teaching us, is just that cape slop is the worst thing that you can actually focus on if you're trying to be
And that they're
a
tourists,
creator.
because they have no
Yes.
understanding of the medium they themselves are supposed to be working in. But look at all the genres. Again, as we've also said, going back years before Comicsgate ever existed, is that manga makes stories in all sorts of genres that American comics don't even try to touch. Like, they have tons of sports comics as well, or
Yeah,
manga
stories
or
about like
sequential art or
sports,
whatever.
boxing and basketball.
Yeah,
That's a
basketball,
fucking
baseball, that kind of shit.
manga is doing
Rugby,
like American sports in a comic better than any American has ever done.
exactly. And that's the thing, is that there are a lot of reasons. We've gone over those reasons many, many years ago. So really, if you want to, hear about more of that, the best way, as always, is to actually be paying attention to the people who know the most. That's us. And
Stop not paying attention and start paying attention.
yes, and the best way to do that, to go through our historical prescience, is to become pay pigs on our Subscribe Star. Only $5 a
Or at the
month.
very least, just spread the word about us. That
Yeah.
will really piss people off.
Yeah, if you want people to really seethe and mauled more than they already are, which they certainly are. But
Record-breaking amounts.
I mean, if you really hated people like Nick Rekieta, what you should have been doing for years is what we had done, and
If
really
instead
made
of
him
following
suffer
like
and
these
cry and scream
gay
about.
cat boys who swear up and down that they're absolute trad cats,
Yeah,
maybe instead of doing that, you should have been helping out our careers.
yeah. I mean, we're not even saying that out of self-interest. We're saying that because it's already been proven true, too. So if you actually cared about things being better, you would have been supporting us already. It's never too late, though. So become PayPig at our Subscribe Star. And of
Well, it's
course,
never too late until it's too late, so hurry up.
yeah, why are you dragging your feet on on joining the patricians instead of wallowing in the inferior under people that you have been all of your life? You can elevate yourself to the patrician level for only $5 a month. And of course, though, for everyone else, sure to listen to Shitty Webcomics.